These paranormal investigators were at it again, getting their guts twisted in some long-forgotten creepy-ass shack as usual. But this time, something happened. Something that will put them off their expensive hobby for good. This particular spot came loaded with some seriously grim legends. Word was, an old man kicked the bucket right there in his own bed. But here's the nasty twist. Something felt wrong about his last breath. Locals believed his soul was still ratting around inside those crumbling walls. Knowing all that, the whole team was already jumpier than a frog in a blender before they even stepped foot inside.
Uma entidade. Isso é coisa diabólica que tá aqui, cara. Né, besouro? O certo é nós fazer tipo...
Meu Deus do céu, caiu o litro, Santo. Caiu um litro, cara. Meu Deus do céu.
Cara, o litro
ali, Santo.
Olha lá. Ó, mexendo a água lá.
You know it's going to be some spooky stuff when not even 1 minute into the video, the entire paranormal team are reaching for a spare pair of pants. The water bottle toppled over behind them. While it could have been for any reason, it wasn't the only time something fell to the ground whilst they were nowhere near it. After trying to reach the man's supposed lost soul with a spirit box, they slowly moved into the bedroom after getting words through the box that the man was hungry. As they peered timidly at the blood-spattered mattress left in there, they heard something strange in the next room.
Entra mais pra lá, Jefferson, pro besouro ir lá onde você tá.
Que foi isso?
Cara,
Foi colher isso.
foi colher. Mas da onde colher?
Something else clattered to the floor. It sounds like cutlery noises. Could it be related to the spirit's hunger? It could be unbalanced weight, but it's weird that it happened twice. After hearing the noises and sensing a dark presence, the group decided to recite some prayers, which was when everything started to take a sinister turn.
Eu acho, rapaziada, então a gente já fez nossa oração e... Escutou o passo aqui?
Toda oração tem espaço.
Tá acontecendo muita coisa, cara. Eu acho que mesmo com a oração, cara, tipo, não resolve tanto, sabe?
Meu Deus.
Cara!
Que é isso, cara?
Cara, foi essa gaveta, velho, que arrastou.
After that, they decided to head out and finish their prayer in the car. What could have caused the dark energy in the house?
Tanto, sabe?
Meu Deus.
Cara!
The place is so small that you would have seen someone hiding and trying to pull strings or knock stuff over. If it wasn't creepy enough to send them packing, God knows what actually lurks in there. Number 6. Strange pictures. While sifting through some of his son's artwork, this father was delighted at the wholesome art he was seeing. But that mood soon took a sharp and sinister turn when he happened upon one picture his son had drawn that was less happy families and more nightmares come to life.
Gente, esto parece de película. Entre los dibujos de mi hijo, miren lo que encontré como escondido aquí, ¿vale? Miren esto. Miren esto. ¿Qué cojones, tío? Ay, Dios. Que un niño dibuje esto. Este soy yo supuestamente, ¿no? ¿Él? ¿Esto qué es? ¿Un tipo de diablo? ¿Y esta mujer? Y una tumba con mi nombre. Uf, esto ya parece de película, señores. Me acabo de quedar alucinando. Uf, voy a tener que hablar con él a ver qué es esto. Estoy flipando en colores, la verdad. De loco.
Talk about artistic expression. While the picture is downright disturbing, sometimes kids do draw strange things depending on what media they've consumed or the conversations they've had and overheard. But what could this kid have seen to prompt a picture like that? Maybe some kind of premonition. A premonition that might begin to explain the bone-chilling events that started to plague the house after the father discovered the drawing. Did you see that? As he peeks around the corner, reflecting faintly in the bottom of the glass door in front of him is a formidable face plastered with a grim smile. It was there in the beginning of the video too, right after the knocking. Could that face be the demon the guy's son drew earlier on? Whatever it is, has latched onto him by the sounds of it, meaning it all got a lot worse.
Escucha, escucha. Escucha. Para eso. Escucha. Coño. Oye, yo. Coño. Venía de aquí, ¿verdad? ¡Mira! ¡Dios! ¡Corre! ¡Sale!
Not only are the demons lurking behind doors, they're slamming cupboards as well. Both terrifying and quite rude, actually. Do you think that the drawing was a catalyst for this? That the entities inside the house showed themselves to the son and were able to get him to manifest them into existence? Or did this guy draw that himself and do a bit of fancy editing? Let us know your thoughts down below. A poltergeist told me you enjoy scary videos like this, but don't subscribe just yet. We'll earn your subscription by the end of this scary compilation. Number 5. Unlikely companions. This guy was trying to relax and unwind late at night when he began to feel a strange atmosphere in his new house. And as things always seem to do at stupid o'clock, they took a terrifying turn. Take a look. The house looks sort of rickety and small, so you would hear if there was anyone running around to stay out of sight, or running outside and closing the door behind them. After investigating thoroughly, he was unable to find anyone or anything, but the caption reads, 2 AM, there is probably someone in my house. So who or what the hell was that? The strange noises and atmospheres didn't stop there for this guy though, because a few days later, he experienced another terrifying event. Again, it's pretty clear that there is nobody inside the house, so how could that doorknob be moving like that? It won't be any kind of wind, because if it were strong enough to knock around a door handle, then you'd hear it whistling. Could this guy be sharing a home with some kind of entity, or a fast-footed squatter? What do you think? Number 4. Distant relatives. You've probably heard the superstition that kids can see ghosts. It's been spoken about for years and used as a premise for a hell of a lot of horror films. And 2-year-old Mabel was able to bring those scary movies to life for her mother when one of her new imaginary friends turned out not so imaginary.
Okay, who is it?
Daddy. Daddy's right there.
Is it your daddy?
No, it's your daddy.
Is where?
Daddy's right there.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, show me.
See?
Oh,
Your daddy's missing you.
my daddy's missing me?
That's your him.
Let's go get him. Where'd he go?
In you.
Okay, show me.
All of this seems like a standard case of kids babbling at random, but when you delve into the story behind this video, it gets a little chilling. The daddy ghost she was referring to is referring to her grandfather who passed over before she was even born. Mabel's mother insisted she had never spoken to her about her granddad or even shown her any pictures. But the first time she did, this happened.
Yes?
Yes, it looks like that.
Daddy. Daddy. Daddy.
Yeah. And Mabel, what does your ghost do?
No.
What did you say he gave you?
Hot.
A heart?
Daddy. Daddy.
Uh-huh.
Daddy.
Yeah.
She seemed so certain of who he is, even though she had never heard about him. After this, she continued to see Daddy Ghost all the time.
Don't see me.
What sees you? The ghost? What are you talking about?
Come on.
Oh! The dryer scared me, and you already freaked me out.
The fact she is taking her mother to such a specific place is so spooky. Why would her grandfather's spirit be hiding in a closet? A few commenters were concerned that whatever it was that Mabel was seeing wasn't really her grandfather, merely something sinister masquerading as him. So Mabel's mother reached out to a psychic reader named Angel Lee. Via a Zoom call, Angel said the name of Mabel's grandmother that had never been mentioned anywhere, and a few other things that swept everyone off their feet.
Nothing to be scared of with her. She is almost making me feel grandmotherly in some way. That's just the feeling that she's giving me, kind of like the way that my grandma loves me, you know. Now, again, or this is him, but I hear something like Willie. Like I just hear, I don't know. He is a very funny man. He's like, call him a Paw. He's very funny. Got a great personality. Your daddy's okay. Your daddy's healthy. Your daddy's happy, and he's in heaven. Okay. But there's definitely something about the ring. It was almost kind of like I know about the ring or something. So just look into that. I don't know if this person's gonna come through or not. Okay, we're back up for just a second. I don't want to miss any messages because if not, like, they're gonna very muffled, very. She could have been called something else, but let me tell you how I heard it. It sounds like this. No. There's something with that. There's a.
According to Mabel's mother, the reading confirmed that the spirit was that of her father, and that it was a protective force, not an eerie one. Which is good to hear, but how much can a psychic tell from a video call? Could there be something scarier going on beneath the surface here? Or is it all as wholesome as we hoped?
Okay, show me.
Number 3. Vanishing Act. While sitting in a traffic jam, this guy noticed a dude completely out of the ordinary. He was so mind-boggling, in fact, that the guy in the car had to whip out his phone and record a video of him. But that was when he realised that he may have just about caught one of the creepiest moments ever on camera. Check it out.
Did he go? Where the f did he just go?
The green-haired guy seems to just disappear into thin air before he emerges from the other side of the car. When the video is slowed down, you can't make much more sense of it either. He just waltzes across the road, goes behind the car and doesn't come out the other side. While there could be many an explanation for how this video turned out the way it did, green hair could have just walked a bit faster than the pace of the camera at the end, and the dude recording just missed him. But people are convinced that this is evidence of a time leap or a matrix glitch. He's dressed pretty modern, considering the resurgence in scene and emo culture happening right now. But that getup could easily pass as something from the 90s to the early 2000s. What do you think happened here? A time traveller from 2007 who got off at the wrong stop? Or something a bit more explainable? Number 2. The Room of Talismans. Adventurer Alaa Al-Hamri never passes up the opportunity to investigate an abandoned old building. But when he visited this specific site, he knew there was something much more forbidden lurking inside than he was used to. He had visited the location once before to get a read on it, and he almost didn't return based on how quickly every hair on his body stood on end. When he was able to move his legs enough to get to the door, he was met with a flurry of dust, old furniture, and bats.
يا الله الخفافيش هذه. السلام عليكم. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا.
Could they be an omen, or just a testament to how long the place has been abandoned? Either way, Allah tiptoed deeper into the building, stopping just in front of a gnarly twisted staircase. But as he stood there listening out for anything, he heard one of these things he really didn't want to hear.
السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. ترى بطلع لك. سمعتك. ايوه. سامع خطواتك اطلع. اخ العيال. سامع خطواتك والله اطلع.
Those were almost definitely footsteps on the stairwell. Realizing that he couldn't get whatever it was to come to him, he decided to go to it. He climbed up and began exploring the upper level of the building, which was when he realized that the entity he was dealing with was much stronger than he thought.
سامعين 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 سامعين. أنت إنس ولا جن؟ أبو محمد الله القوي وأنتم الضعفاء. الله القوي وأنتم الضعفاء. ما هو طبيعي اللي قاعد يصير هنا يا جماعة، والله ما هو طبيعي. هذه غرفة الطلاسم يا جماعة.
هنا طلعنا أكثر من سحر. أبو محمد جبريل، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله.
As he attempts to enter what he has dubbed the Room of Talismans, a room decorated with strange and cryptic graffiti, he is told in no uncertain terms that he isn't welcomed, but he heads on in anyway, discovering more and more strange images littering the walls. They weren't the scariest thing he saw that night though, because as he steps through the corridors, all hell began to break loose.
أبو محمد، إذا أنت إنس اطلع. يا جماعة الكشاف اللي عندي في العماية. إذا أنت إنس اطلع. الله القوي وأنتم الضعفاء. إذا أنت انس اطلع ابن الحلال. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر.
Whenever he was able to dodge everything that came his way, he tried to continue exploring, only to have the worst possible thing happen.
أبو محمد، حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. لا 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 لا. أبو محمد، لا إله إلا الله. يدي.
Something tried to barricade him in the room using the very chair he stumbled upon before he walked in. After this, he makes the executive decision to get the hell out of there, but his journey back out was anything but smooth sailing.
والله يا الله، بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. حصنت نفسي. لا إله إلا الله. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيكم. أنا ماني خايف، بس أنا خايف من الإصابة بس، ولا أنتم ما تخوفوني. أنتم ما تخوفوني. اطلع. ايوه. اني اطلع.
He said he had to withdraw from the investigation as he was terrified that whatever he was dealing with wished to hurt him. He was probably right there. Unless he had someone else following through the building and causing all the ruckus, there's no way he could have faked all this by himself. And how would a mysterious person do all of that without being seen? What could have happened here? Let us know what you think down below. Number 1. Sneak attack. Johan thought it was just a normal, rainy day at work. He was alone in the shop, and during a spell of no customers, he started doing some other tasks. That was the moment he realised he was not quite as alone as he thought. Did you see it? Don't worry if not. It's a bit hard to miss. So let's slow down and zoom in. His hood moves back ever so slightly, like something was pulling on it. He says in his description that he felt a sort of weight on the top of his jacket. But imagine his face when he actually saw the footage. Yeah. No thanks.
A faded figure of a lady with long black hair, dressed in white, walks past the walls, across the corridor, and into the walls again. TikToker, as she undoes the wrappings before looking back forward. Using every ounce of courage in their hearts, our brave explorers go to see who might have gone into the room.